Just want to let you know that we're also on Brighteon.com. You can find our channel there.
Electricity can be very expensive in El Salvador, and this we learned somewhat the hard way, I guess, in one sense. It's a bizarre story because we were staying at an Airbnb and we were there from August 20th to September 30th. Our Airbnb booking was just for September 1st to September 30th, but our first Airbnb we had from when we got off the plane, that one fell through. So I said, could we come earlier? And we paid sort of outside the Airbnb system. So probably not allowed. But anyway, so we're at this Airbnb and we were there August 20th. And on September 20th, exactly a month after we got there, the bill came in for electricity. Now, there were 3 air conditioning units. Annika and Willem had shared a bedroom. There was one there. We had one in our bedroom and one in Lawrence's. And I had them set quite high, 24, 26 degrees. They weren't really like, I wouldn't say they were like cutting in. The fan was on all day, but the air conditioning unit part was not cutting in all the time. Like you could hear when it cuts in, because sometimes you get in the room, it's like, oh, it's a bit hot. I'm going to just lower the temperature down to 22. And you could hear it, oh, it cut in now. This was just really just the fan running, plus the fans, every ceiling fan in the house, plus all of our devices, all that stuff. And the electricity bill came in and the host got freaked out. And she called me and wrote me and sent me pictures of the electricity bill. And it was $626 for the month. And I was like, that would be over 800 and whatever, maybe $900 Canadian for 1 month of electricity. I'd be freaking out too. So it felt kind of bad. We worked out a payment system. We gave her some money towards it. But I thought about that. If we had had the air conditioning units just on at night, even if it's like the same sort of setting, so it'd be basically 1/3 of the time it would be running, it would be about 1/3 that bill, so about $200 and some dollars. And she was telling us, oh, for a family of 5, it should be only $140. Now, I don't know if that meant the family was there full time, with GJ working remotely. I'm not sure what she meant by family of 5. but either way, I realized if we would have had the air conditioning only on just at night, it would have been fine. And when we got that bill on the 20th, we actually turned all the air conditioning units off, only ran the ceiling fans, and we didn't die. So I realized probably wasn't as necessary. We left all the windows open. The only thing with that house that we left all the windows open and had the ceiling fans on, but it was very loud with the highway. So you could not do a conference call or make a video, for example, with the windows open. Then you had to shut all the windows. But we did make sure we tried to leave all the windows open at night when we go to bed so that lots of fresh air came in. And of course, there was a gated community. There's bars in the windows. I wasn't worried about, whatever. I wasn't even worried about this cats escaping. Whereas in this house, the cats just push the screens out and the screens fall out. and they were out the window, right? So Annika and Willem's room right now has one screen in, one screen out. I guess if you leave one in, the cats don't try to force the other screen out because they have a way in and out. So they love this freedom. We didn't let them out at the other place except in the laundry area because that was open to the outside, but it was walled in on all sides of the house. They couldn't actually escape, which is good because that was a really busy highway down the hill, and it would have been devastating if we would have lost one of the cats there. So yeah, electricity can be super expensive here. So that's one other reason why we don't have AC here, and we'd have to put it in, so we'd have to pay to get it installed. Or those little portable units, we're looking at one, it's not really AC, you put ice in it. If we really need it. Now, like I said, I have my fan. I put this on at night when I go to bed. It's right, blowing right at me, plus the ceiling fan. And I have to put the covers on at night. I get too cold after, your body temperature lowers, whatever. I don't know. It's 17 to 19-ish degrees at night here, and our windows are all open. So I don't find it's too hot. And we're supposed to be in an area it wasn't the ideal location we wanted to be in because we want to be 1,000 meters above sea level, and we're only about 600, 650 above sea level. So I thought we were going to be much hotter, but we're surviving. And when I get too hot, I take a shower or we go to the pool. So that works out perfectly well. So Bitcoin, I did touch on Bitcoin briefly when I was talking about the bank. Bitcoin is accepted here like almost everywhere, like at the Costco, which is the Price Mart here, Super Selectors, which is the grocery store chain. There are Chivo ATMs. I could withdraw my Bitcoin out in cash and USD. I could do that. So to get money into this country, you could withdraw it from your bank account like I did the other day for the rent. However, the exchange rate from the banks is atrocious, like awful. And you pay those fees, right? Almost $13 Canadian just to take out 500. That's unsustainable. Can't do that. We did it once, that's it. We used Wise to do a money transfer from my bank account to pay for a shipping container. We moved it through the Wise system, and then from Wise, it transferred to the bank account of the business we're using. And that was the best rate. When I looked at doing a global money transfer from, I'm with Simply Bank, from Simply to the bank for the shipping company, it was going to be over 10,000 Canadian. With whatever the exchange rate was. I was trying to get 7,100 American. It was over 10,000 Canadian on the day we had checked it. And then when I went to do it through Wise, it was only 9,800 and something. So it was about almost $300 savings just by using Wise payments instead of just the global money transfer from bank to bank, because they suck at these exchange rates. They take their pound of flesh from the exchange rate. We'll say that. So the best way would be just buy Bitcoin, put it in a wallet, go here, take it out of the wallet. That's the easiest way to get money in and out of El Salvador. Shipping stuff to this country is unattainable. It's very expensive. I honestly don't even know how the mail system works right now. I have some paperwork I got to send in for my pension, and I called the embassy today to say, do you guys do like a mail service? Because I have to go pick up some documents anyway. I thought, well, if they do that, I'll just bring these here and have them ship it off to Canada. No, I have to use something like DHL, FedEx, UPS, something like that. So my aunt had asked about a mailing address here. I can give you an address, but I know nobody comes by to drop mail off. I don't even know yet how people get mail. I mean, we have a residential area. They could bring it to the guards. I'm not really sure. Mail's not a thing here. What I understand is that the utility bills that should come in at the end of the month here will be dropped off. We have a little box in our gate that they're going to drop the water bill off and the internet bill. And actually, the internet bill is probably going to come through my email. But the water bill and electricity is going to be put into this mailbox. And then I just take it out and I go somewhere to pay it. I guess the bank, I guess, because I don't have a bank account to move money. Anyway, we'll figure that out when it comes. But the mail system, not a thing here. And I can tell you why. A big problem with that is the addressing. And I know Google's here and the Google streetcar's gone by to, get some of the country on a map. But where we are right now, I can tell you right now, when I look at Google Earth, it lists about 4 of the roads or something that's in this complex with like 1,000 houses. So there's it's not even on the map. I can say, yeah, we're in this residential complex, and this is our house number, this is our street number, our house number. Actually, it's not even a street number. It's the block of houses has a name. They're called polígonos. And the streets have names. They're called sendas, which is like path. And we've been in Santa Tecla, supposed to be in Santa Rosa when we get lost, on the way to the lawyer's office to sign the lease. And it was pasea, and that just means passage. And it literally is a walkway. It's kind of like a sidewalk size, but most of it's uphill. So it was all stairs going up to these houses. I'm like, okay, is these places, like there was this Pasea, whatever the number was, 6 or something. It was in Santa Rosa and Santa Tecla with the same name, but the mailing address was Santa Tecla or something, because that's the address she gave me, but we're supposed to be in Santa Rosa. So it'd be like almost impossible to get mail here because places are not addressed. The addresses aren't, there's no labels on things. A lot of things are not labeled. And that's just in the suburban areas. You go to the rural areas, well, good luck there. You won't even find the street, the road, the house won't have any number. So if we're going to reform this country for mail, for say something like an Amazon or something to come here for delivery purposes, getting the whole country on a proper mailing system, like in Canada we use postal codes, the United States uses zip codes. Apparently there are postal codes here. I had to look it up to find it, to put in my on my Alexas. They wanted to know the address for the weather. I'm like, oh, we have postal codes? I gotta go look this up. But it's a big area with one postal code, and where in Canada, if they're a really populated area, you could have one postal code on one side of the street and one postal code on the other side of the street, and that does help with the mailing system. So that would definitely be something to reform here, to get a proper mailing system. But last year when we were here, we went to an orphanage. I asked the company, I like the Tuttle Twins book series, I asked them if they would donate books to this orphanage. They said, yes, we'd love to do that. You just pay for the shipping. And then when they told me the shipping, I thought, it's $160 USD to ship these books. Like, okay. And then when they got here, then there was a customs charge, and the people at the orphanage told me, oh, the books arrived, but they want us to pay $30-some in customs. So it was the most expensive free books I've ever given to anybody. It was almost $200 USD to get a little box. It wasn't even a big box, a little box of books to this country. So mailing stuff, not a thing, unattainable, unaffordable. I mean, there is the DHL and all that stuff. You're going to pay customs, import, export. I don't know. I think it should change in the future. I don't know how, but it should definitely change in the future. So getting mail here isn't really an option. The other thing that I find different here from being in Canada is water. Now we're in the rainy season, so I don't know what happens when the dry season starts, but right now we're in our community, we have community water. And I don't know if there's tanks here, because when we were in Zaragoza, there was big tanks in our complex. But the water is here. One second. Okay, I got the paper. This is how the water works. On Monday, we don't have service. On Tuesday, it starts in the afternoon sometimes. Wednesday, we have service all day. Thursday, we have no service from the water company. Is called ANDA. So no service. Friday, we have service that starts in the afternoon, but nobody knows the exact time. That's what they say here. No se sabe hora exacta. Don't know what time. Saturday, we have service all day Saturday, which is funny because I find that's the warmest day to take a shower. Sunday, there's no service all day. And like I said, Monday, there's also no service all day. Wait, it says Sunday, it says sometimes there are zones with service. That's really confusing. So anyway, this is the water schedule. So we have a cistern outside, and in the cistern, and I have to keep pausing the video when the pump comes on because it's very loud, and it's right outside our bedroom window where I'm at. So the pump will come on when it's getting water from the cistern. Today is Monday. Yeah, we have no service all day. So the pump has been running. I've done a load of laundry. I've taken a shower. Lauren's taken a shower. Annika's taken a shower. I've never run out of water. That's not an issue. And then tomorrow, that tank will fill back up again when we have service. So I assume even when we're not in rainy season and it's dry season, that ANDA can provide water for us so that we have water on the days that it says in the schedule. So if you're in the rural community and you don't have community water, like you don't have the water service from the company, you need to have a well, or you need to have your own great big tank in the ground, I guess, and have it filled up if you need to. Maybe you've trapped the rainwater, and I don't know how much it rains during dry season, but I'm guessing not very much. So I just assume we're going to keep having water all through the dry season. I just don't know how it works in all parts of the country. Like, we're lucky where we're at now. We have community water most of the time. At our place we stayed in the Airbnb in Zaragoza, there was community water all the time because they had their own tanks. Well, I should say, there literally was community water. I don't know if ANDA only supplied water to those tanks, 4 times a week or something like they do here. But we didn't have to have our own cistern at the house. So, because the community itself, that gated community, has its big water tanks. Whereas here, I'm guessing ANDA supplies directly to the house. And then the tank outside our window fills up when it's low because it has like a float in it. When we first moved in, it was leaking water at the top, but the float wasn't stopping it. So we had a plumber come by. He fixed that. Plus the pump had the valve, the bladder in it to keep the pressure in the tank. That was busted, so he fixed that too. But the pump itself was very loud. And I guess our pump in Canada in our basement it was noisy, but this seems really loud because it's right outside our bedroom window. And also it just comes on at random times. It could just come on now before when I pause the video, and nobody's using water. So I don't know why that pump comes on if it's losing pressure at some point, and that's just it filling up with pressure. I don't know. I'm not really the pump expert. But anyway, the water situation in this country, very interesting. And of course, you cannot drink any of that water. So the other part of the water situation is you can't drink any of that water unless you have some sort of filtration system, whether it's a particle filter and a UV filter or something of that combination. Now, I do know somebody who built a house here. They did put a great big water tank in the ground, probably 10,000 liters, something like that. Very large tank. It was probably 8 feet across or something like that, 6-8 feet across, and it was buried in the ground. And they had it filled up at the beginning. And I don't know if they filled it up with rainwater afterwards. I don't know how it continued to be filled. But they had a whole shed outside their house, and it had 3 large filters and a UV filter and all these things to keep the water so that every part of the house, you could drink water from any faucets. That would be great too. But we have a water jug service, we'll say. And he comes by, again, also on our little sheet here. He says this is the Crystal water that we use. He comes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you get the water from the Elemental, which I've never even heard of that one, it's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and so is the Alpina. It's also Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I can't even speak English. So what we've done now, we put our jug out that's empty, and we put a little thing around it with, it's $2.85 a 5-liter jug. So I put the $2.85 in a bag, and he takes the money or gives us change if we don't have change, and he puts the change in the bag and leaves the water right out in front of the door. So that's perfect. So he comes usually by 10-ish on those days on our street. So, but it's not always the same, or we're not always here. So sometimes we leave the thing out overnight. If we're not up early in the morning to leave it out, and then we always catch them. So whenever we need water, we always have water to drink. That's important. Although we were out one time, we didn't think about doing that money thing. So we had to get water from the store, which is literally at the end of our street, and then the next block down is the store. So you can get that at the store also. I think it's the same price probably, if you happen to miss out on the guy coming on the day that you were supposed to get your water. So that can be very interesting. It's an adventure to get water here. This I find really interesting. And it's not just in this country, but it's any country I would say that people consider a third world country, although I don't really see El Salvador as third world now. But everyone here thinks that Canada and the United States are amazing countries they'd love to live in. Everyone here, except people who lived in the United States or Canada, who think El Salvador is a better country to live in. And one of the things I remember from an interview with Jordan Peterson, this lady from Africa, which I cannot remember her name at all, but she has a cosmetics company in the States. And she was talking about bringing her husband back to Africa to have this great hibiscus tea that they used to have all the time in Africa. So she was really looking forward to taking her husband there and, kind of having him relive her childhood from when she was there and all the great memories and whatever. And then when they did finally go back, when, she was at someone relative's house, they came out to offer them, beverages, and it was Coke and Pepsi and Sprite and 7-Up, whatever, right? It was like, he's like, where's this hibiscus tea that I heard so much about? And the people there, as same as here in El Salvador, they feel like it's almost like a sign of being rich or prestigious or being part of the first world if they can have American crap like Coke and Pepsi and all that other American junk food like Oreos and Heinz ketchup, and they almost see that this is a status symbol, that if you can afford to buy that imported crap, then somehow it makes you feel better. You feel like you're part of that first world, and they have this great esteem for Canada and the United States. I'm thinking, oh my word, the absolute crap they make in the States for food, they're like poisoning people. And I already found 2 products now. One was the roasted peanuts from Walmart. The Walmart brand, the Great Value brand, have bioengineered ingredients in it. Like, how disgusting is that? And then I found the Prego spaghetti sauce I got from the Costco / Price Mart here. That also says bioengineered ingredients. And I don't know how much stuff I found that I can't buy because it contains MSG. Even the other spaghetti sauces, there's only like almost one brand we can buy because it's the only one that doesn't have crap in it. And I prefer the locally made things, first of all, because they may not contain any crap, may or may not. And, I want to support the local economy here. And I don't want to be supporting these, great big food companies in the States that all they want to do is poison you anyway. So that I find just, disturbing. I don't know why people have such great esteem for the Americans. I don't know. If you live there, or Canadians, if you live there, it's not all it's cracked up to be. But the advertising that's done in those 2 countries makes people here feel inferior, and I think that's wrong. I think people in El Salvador are like, we came here. I think the people in El Salvador are superior. I think the country El Salvador is superior to Canada and the United States for many, many reasons. Don't want to get political or anything, but that's a big part of it. And I want to support the people here. I want to buy the stuff that's locally made. Like my monk food I got at Price Mart. I'm told that's locally made, that brand. I'm like, oh, great. I'm happy to support someone. I don't want to be supporting, big ag food companies coming, the Kellogg's or the Heinz and all that coming from the States. And all they do is put poison in the food anyway. And then they try to sell it here to the locals. I just wish people would realize that that's just garbage food, and to not put any great esteem in the fact that you can have Coca-Cola, which is just giving you diabetes anyway. And they come in 3-liter 6-packs, 3 liters each in a 6-pack. and it's not very expensive. And I just went over the whole thing about the water, right? You can't drink the water from the faucet. You have to buy water. Oh, I'm going to buy Coke. I'm going to buy water. Which one's it going to be? Oh, I'll buy the Coke because I'm more prestigious drinking Coke than drinking this, Alpina or Cristal water that comes into our country, which is the complete opposite of the truth, and it makes you sick. And diabetes runs rampant in this country. So those are my observations about living in El Salvador for the last 2 months. And since we applied for temporary residency, we hope to be here a really long time. I hope you have a great day and chat with you soon.
Don't forget to hit the like button.